Director Coates. Senator McCaskill made a statement, you agreed with it, then she made another statement, and I suspect maybe you didn't agree with that one, but you weren't asked whether you agreed. So let me see if we can expand on that. Last week, U.S. government approved selling 210 Javelin anti-tank missiles and 37 launchers to Ukraine. The Javelins represent the type of defensive lethal aid that Ukraine has been calling for from the United States since Russia's illegal annexation of Crimea. So in that sense, we're fighting the bear in that regard. Is that correct, Director Coates?
Yeah, probably General Ashley has more knowledge about the impact of Javelin missiles and weapons that we sent to Ukraine, but yes, that is a pushback.
General Ashley, in that sense, we're engaging the bear.
Senator, so you're correct. I think what we're showing also is a good faith measure toward our partner in Ukraine as well.
I think one of the most strategic acts in the next few months or the next few years is that Russia demonstratively lose in Ukraine. Do you agree with that? That's a very strategic objective.
I think that is a strategic objective. Yes.
And also our national defense strategy now states that for long-term security competitions, our competition with China and Russia are foremost and the foremost priority for the Department of Defense. Is that correct?
Sir, that is correct.
And so in that case, I won't ask you. I would just observe we're engaging the bear and doing so in our very strategy. General Ashley, you were not quite as optimistic as Senator Inhofe when this hearing first began, when he asked you about North Korea. I expect that might be because you've seen this movie before. Is that correct?
Senator, that's correct. We've watched.
Would you care to expound on why exactly you don't share much optimism about the announcement yesterday from Kim Jong-un?
Yes, sir. So staying at the unclassified level, everything that I've seen, everything that's reinforced my opinion, my assessment, albeit there is a great deal of opaqueness to the decision-making of Kim Jong-un, I've seen nothing to take me down a path to think that he's about ready to make a hard right turn. But that possibility is there. But I've seen nothing to tell me that there's sincerity in the talks that are about ready to kick off.
Should we dismiss it out of hand, or would your advice to the President of the United States be to follow up with caution?
I think you follow it with caution, you engage.
Okay, now let me ask one other thing. There was a RAND study that came out in December, and we've had classified briefings that followed up on that. It was a public study, and basically it was very startling what they said. They said that under plausible scenarios, the United States could actually lose the next war. And they listed several reasons for this, one being that when we have to fight a war, we have to fight it so far away from home. But also they said that, that our adversaries are catching up with us in technology. Did you have a chance to look at that RAND study?
Senator, I have not, but I will.
Well, okay. Director Coates, have you looked at that study?
I've not looked at that study, but we've seen a great deal of intelligence relative to the technological capabilities now available to nations which didn't have those capabilities before. There is a competition, and there is a race, and the world is changing. Conventional warfare probably changed when we prevailed in Desert Storm. No country's going to line up tanks or infantry against us, given our capabilities that were demonstrated there. And so we've seen a lot of asymmetric types of threats, and the use of technology to achieve those threats. So it's a different kind of warfare that we're engaged in, and I think we're fully aware of that. Thanks to the Congress, the budget has been increased significantly to make up for some stuff that was pretty static for in the past administration.
That's true, yes, and I think we're going to follow up on the 23rd of this month with an omnibus. But let me get back to you. Understanding, General Ashley, that you haven't not read the report, it was stunning, I think, to many Americans that that a report could say we could conceivably, under plausible conditions, lose the next war. What do you say to someone who would make that that flat statement?
So I'd have to look at the context of the assessment. Is it one particular war? Is it multiple wars? Is it holding, deterring? I do agree with everything that Director Coates says in terms of closing the gaps and capabilities. Our opponents are going to come at us in a very asymmetric way. The technology gap is closing, and the fact that we have global commitments, it's hard to posture yourself everywhere in the globe. So you're always going to have that time distance where you're going to have to move, where you may be out of position when a conflict starts.
Okay, well, General, thank you very much. Well, I'm going to ask you to take this as a question for record. We'll insert it at this point in the record. Would you look at that, at the unclassified RAND report? It came out about the 4th of January. Actually, I think it came out in December. Look at that and give us a brief response.
Yes, sir.
To the allegations, the top line allegations made. Senator King.